What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another video on a Transformers movie, and I did not see this one coming. It's been reported that Michael Bay will be making his return to the Transformers live-action film franchise, and it's got a lot of people in the fandom talking. But before we get into this topic, I want to ask you guys to do me the biggest favor and like this video. Yeah, I know it's a bit annoying getting this request at the very beginning of the video before you've watched it in its entirety, but YouTube's algorithm encourages it. So if you rock with your boy and you know I'm gonna bring you that awesome content, then smash that like button. And if by any chance you just so happen to be new to the channel and you feel like I've wasted 8 minutes of your time, then feel free to retract that like and give it a dislike. Just rate the video. But yeah guys, after being away from the Transformers film franchise for almost a decade, Michael Bay is making his triumphant return to the director's seat, which comes as a bit of a surprise since Transformers The Last Knight was a $600 million box office failure compared to the billions of dollars the previous two films raked in. And it's because of that fact that we've seen a major turnaround when it comes to these newer movies. If you guys remember, Paramount originally planned to expand the Bayverse universe with things like spin-offs and prequels, but they quickly pivoted once they saw the lacking box office returns for Transformers The Last Knight, resulting in Bumblebee serving as this new reboot, with Transformers Rise of the Beast following suit. And then you have Transformers 1, which just so happened to be an animated film that didn't feel like it was connected to any of the previous movies. But none of these newer projects have amassed the big numbers that the previous ones have, and now it looks like Paramount seeks to get that by bringing back a former component, which is Michael Bay. And you're probably wondering to yourself, what exactly is he going to be directing? Is it going to be directly tied to Bumblebee and Transformers Rise of the Beast, or is it going to be a revival of his Bay canon, where the last time we left off we had that cliffhanger revolving around Unicron? But according to Tribune.com, it's going to be its own separate thing. They said in that quote, "The upcoming film is separate from other ongoing projects, including the animated Transformers 1 and a planned G.I. Joe crossover. Screenwriter Jordan Van Dina is attached to the script and the film is in early development. No release date has been set, but Paramount must begin production by 2029 to retain the rights to the franchise." So yeah, it's been confirmed that this movie isn't going to be connected to any of the previous films we got, but there is a possibility that it could be connected to his Bayverse, which many fans assumed was defunct. But I've always noticed that even though Paramount seemed to be trying to get away from the Bayverse canon, they always made it a point to try to insert something that aimlessly insinuates that aura, because they realize that there is an audience that yearns for the Bay chaos and explosions and all the robot mayhem, but they know that there are just as many fans who are burnt out on those particular elements and they want something new and invigorating for the franchise. So they make it a point to kind of like implement these things in sparingly without going overboard with it. But now it seems like they're ready to go all in with the Bayos, which many fans are disappointed on, but I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not necessarily happy or mad about it. I feel like there is an opportunity to have a course correction with this, because Michael Bay isn't necessarily a bad director. He just tends to go overboard with certain elements that fans are kind of tired of, such as the overabundance of explosions and human inclusion, who hog the spotlight from the actual stars, which are the Transformers, and halt their character development since they don't have that much screen time. Not to mention that the humans that Michael Bay introduces to these movies always tend to be annoying, boisterous, and crazy characters, and I don't think that that's something that a lot of fans are willing to deal with this time around. There's also his obsession with including the military, which is a trope that started off in the 2007 film with the US military and spun off into other things such as these fake groups known as NEST, TRF, and Cemetery Wind. And when I first heard that he was going to be making a return to the Transformers film franchise, I thought it would be a better fit for him to direct the new G.I. Joe crossover, because that just seems like something within his wheelhouse and he can actually elevate the characters within the G.I. Joe franchise, since he likes to shine a spotlight on certain characters that just so happen to be in these military factions. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that people care more about a Duke than they do a Major Linux. Bay's keen eye for detail when it comes to action would fit well with characters such as Snake Eyes, who's known for being caught in these explosive sequences. But it looks like it's going to go to another director, and Michael Bay is going to be helming this new mystery live action project that many fans are hoping will at least do something different. I'm hoping that this isn't one of those those cases where the executive producer Lorenzo di Bonaventura actually called up Michael Bay and told him that, hey, we should just go back to the way things used to be, since that's what's making us so much money at the box office. Because if you think about it, even though Transformers The Last Knight didn't gross as much as the previous 4 films, it still grossed more than the later films that we got, which includes Bumblebee, a film that a lot of fans seem to enjoy, but only made $468 million at the box office compared to Transformers The Last Knight's $609 million. Transformers Rise of the Beast made $441 million with a $200 million budget. And then you have the biggest box office disappointment of them all, Transformers 1, which only pulled in $129 million on a $147 million budget, which in return has caused Paramount Pictures to go copyright crazy when it comes to people using any footage from Transformers 1. You guys may have noticed with my Everything Wrong with Cinema Sins Transformers 1 video that it got blocked in an hour of being uploaded, and it's because Paramount wants to make back all the money that they put into that particular project because it didn't get any return. It didn't even break even at the box office. And I feel like Lorenzo di Bonaventura wants to seize the opportunity to go back to the way things were. If you guys haven't noticed, he's been placating the audience for the better half of a decade now, making it a point to avoid not telling people on if these new movies are a reboot or not, while also adding in certain things that insinuate the Bay films. Like I said earlier, he's the guy that makes all these decisions at the end of the day, and he's the guy who talked Michael Bay into doing Transformers Dark of the Moon after Michael Bay said he was done after doing Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And after Dark of the Moon became the first Transformers film to hit $1 billion, he convinced Michael to stay and do another in the form of Age of Extinction, which also grossed over $1 billion. And then you already know the story when it comes to Transformers The Last Knight. And I fear that he's just going to tell Michael Bay to go all out and do the things that he usually does, which is implement all these explosions and humans and military components. And this is one of the reasons why I compare Michael Bay to other directors like Zack Snyder. These are obviously two talented directors who have a keen eye for bringing action to the big screen, but they tend to prioritize that action over telling a good cohesive story that makes sense. If they have a cool idea in their mind that they want to put into their films, they don't think about how to lead up to that moment. They just throw it in, which is why their trailers always do big numbers on YouTube, because it hooks us. But it's not until we see the actual movie that we notice that it doesn't make sense with all the full context. So I'm hoping that Paramount Pictures in their writer's room get it together and actually get Michael Bay a editor, somebody who will reel him in when he goes overboard with some of his shenanigans. I'm also hoping that the design for the Transformers reaches a middle ground where they're not too G1 and not too Bay inspired. And I feel like Josh Nizzi can actually give us that, because if you guys aren't aware, he's the guy who designed most of the Transformers from the Bay films, as well as some of the newer Transformers. In recent years, he's mentioned how he wanted to do something closely akin to G1 in the Bay films, but they always turned it down and forced him to do something that people consider a kibble-like design. Thankfully, Hasbro and Prime 1 Studios have allowed him to bring some of his concepts to life with these beautiful statues that not only have a G1 inspired aesthetic, but also has the detail that comes with the Bayverse designs. And I'm hoping that these are things that we can actually see in motion in Michael Bay's film. I feel like it's a no-brainer to go back to Josh Nizzi and try to appease not only G1 fans, but also the Bay fans. So yeah, these are things that I'm hoping to see. I feel like Michael Bay can actually bring in more butts to seats when it comes to these Transformers movies, but he's gonna have to learn from his previous Transformers projects and not repeat the same mistakes. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. What do you think about this? Are you happy with the idea of Michael Bay returning to the Transformers film franchise, or do you feel like he's gonna do the same thing that he usually does, which come with all that crazy chaos and explosions and include annoying humans? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down, but if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.